Roland. Maybe I'll just start off with a few comments. And as this is drawing to the end, I'd like to thank everybody that helped prepare today for a terrific session. I mean, this is the kind of thing that we hope people will feel useful and valuable. And as a district, we're happy to support events like this. But thank you for your efforts in pulling this together. Everybody that had a hand, particularly our speakers and presenters this morning, and Roland, Joanne, to everybody that was involved. We had some great external partners, Scott and Vicky. So I certainly got a lot out of the sessions today. I mean, this has been a dividend of being comfortable in a digital space. We can do this kind of thing. Just to start off, I want this to be a conversation after I make a few opening remarks. We hope as a district that we're doing the kinds of things that the broader membership wants. We're in a situation right now where we have experienced years of membership decline. We haven't gotten here quickly, but we have been on a downslope for some time. I was just looking back, and we've been under 1,000 members for more than 10 years. Past couple of years, we found that COVID certainly hasn't helped, but with all of the challenges it faces, we also have opportunities. We have a lot of good resource at KI. There's a very strong team that supports efforts to sustain and turn the boat around with respect to growth. We have strategies that we can use, like 2 for 2. We have a club boost process, and we do have the power to reverse our fortunes. I think there are some of us that really feel that the struggle, and I talk to people at both ends of the spectrum that feel that this is a different place, a different time, and recruitment is a hard sell. But I think those of us that were in Vicky's session this morning, that the message is there's a disconnect between what we say about ourselves as Kiwanians and as members of Kiwanis clubs and what we do. And getting that message out is part of the puzzle. We have been doing a number of things as a district, but I think this is a chance to say, are we doing things that the broader membership would like? We offer training on a regular basis, events like this. We have a district that makes it almost impossible to have district-wide events on a regular basis. But with Zoom, past couple of years, we've run regular training sessions on the third Thursday night of the year. We make people aware of virtual events that KI is running and the resources that KI offers via distance. We have tried to establish a network of club coaches that people can use. The district also participates in recognition activity, recognizing effort, signature projects, and distinguished status throughout the district. We work along with the Canadian Foundation, offering supports like the membership incentive awards for gaining new members. We think that we have sort of a full program of activity, but I think these things are only going to make a difference if they're meaningful to the membership and meaningful to clubs. So what we're really looking for at this point is some feedback. Are we doing the things that people want? Is there something you would like us to start doing? Is there something that we should tweak? So I'm hoping that over the next of our remaining 45 minutes, that we could just have a conversation about what you would like us to do, what you would like us to keep doing. Is there anything that we should stop doing? So I would just like to open it up at this point.
I'll share, Ken, one suggestion that came out of at the end of McKenna's presentation, and it could be the same with Steve's or other presentations, that there was a request that if we could have some shorter encapsulated versions of a presentation, like 15 minutes or 20 minutes, like a clip or some things like that, done with some of the presentations that could be shown at a meeting. Alvin was talking about, or Barry was talking about, like showing, 15, 20 minutes at their club meeting that becomes then a jumping off point. Because 45-minute or 35-minute, that's kind of too much. So that was one idea, is making some short things that clubs could use.
Barry?
What I was alluding to was the fact that at the club meetings themselves, you get a large number of people in the club who are interested, but they tend, like my observations, to pass them on to a subcommittee to do the work. That seems to be the way that things are often done in our generation. And if you'd watched McKenna's presentation, it was interesting to hear the difference between her generation and our generation. So what I believe needs to be done is that to get the juices flowing is you need shorter segments to be able to show at your club sessions. And you don't just need one session, but you may need to have show parts of it at subsequent sessions, because if you deal with it all at one session, what's going to happen is you'll get those who are there rah, and then next week you'll be back, or next meeting you'll be back to your regular complaining about the meal and moving on with the general things you do. But you need to get a group, or at least a subcommittee, working on that particularly, and you need to get them empowered. But the conversation has to start with the entire club. And if you can do that with a shorter portion, I think that you will get a more active outcome. And then that group can come back and maybe there's another portion of McKenna's presentation that can be used, but it's got to be an ongoing process. It can't just be one session and, okay, we've solved that problem.
Okay, just a point of clarification. So you're not necessarily asking for short live sessions, but rather sort of bite-sized video to sort of be a conversation starter?
What I was suggesting was that McKenna's presentation was so well done. And she's amazing. I think that, she's one of our rising stars. That's for sure. And we should be helping her market herself, on a broader Kiwanis platform as well. But initially, what we need to do is take some of the work she's done, and maybe Roland can have a look at that. I don't know, and edit that down to at least a couple of segments, because she did talk about several different topics during that presentation. But it's really terrible to run a presentation. You don't know where you're starting, you don't know where you're ending, and at most Kiwanis meetings, somebody will screw it up. So what you need is a nicely packaged, 15, 20-minute segment that can come out. The Kiwanis Club can simply turn it on, it hits the mark, and then it stops, and then conversation happens after that.
Oh, go ahead, Ron.
So Barry, if you look at the every other month or so training session that we've got on that Thursday night or whatever kind of thing, are you saying that it would be beneficial also to have these sessions? Because typically what we do is we do about something presentation to the tune of about 30 minutes or so. And then we have some questions and discussion and whatever. Are you saying that that should also be kind of compacted into a 15-minute session and opening up the floor? Or, is this something that is different because it's really training?
No, I think that what we're talking about is these need to be available. I think, Ron, yours need to be available, but I think that specifically with growing new club members and such, we should be putting out a regular packaging of it as an executive, as a board. We should be putting out a regular packaging of this for clubs. Clubs need this stuff, but they don't know where to start. And it's great that you're doing the Thursday night sessions, but unless you have someone who buys in at the Thursday night session and wants that portion, then it may not be worth the time to do all of them, but there's certainly some which could be of some use.
Yeah.
Don't forget that many clubs have their own meetings and have their own speakers and such. But this is a case where it's changed since we've gone to twice a meeting or twice a month meetings. When we had 4 meetings a month, it was always great to have. You always had one meeting to fill in, it seemed. And this would have been a perfect opportunity. May not be used as much with less meetings, but certainly is a valid packaging thing, and doesn't come from KI. With all due respect to those from KI, but it comes from Western Canada District, which is at least a lot closer to them.
Barry, I'm going to agree and disagree with you. The message that I had taken away is shorter packaging. So whether it's McKenna's or Steve's or any of the sessions that we have done, to re-edit, because the video, typically we'll have the videos, to in a 10-minute segment on a portion of the topic. I understand that, and I agree with that. It is hard to keep people's attentions, certainly at club meetings. I think where the disagreement is we already record all of these sessions. We already, in club executive bulletin, communicate with the club executive various videos and resources that are available. So, you can lead a horse to water, but so I understand the piece of chunking it up, making it bite size, a 10-minute versus a 40-minute, so that it.
I didn't say 10. I didn't say 10. I said 15 to 20.
Yeah, well,
standard speaker length.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But the concept editing, so it is shorter, so it's amenable for a club presentation as opposed to, we're going to watch it as a group and that's it. There are many opportunities to tell members what is available, to share what Western Canada District has done, either at convention, education sessions, the virtual mid-year, and the monthly education center session. So that's where I sort of, shorter makes lots of sense, whether that's 10, 20, 15. So
Okay,
that is something. So Alvin.
Yes, the thought I had is we do club surveys and we do community surveys and this type of thing. I think maybe from the district level, we need to survey the clubs as to what can district do for you, and get each club to actually participate, because right now, even with the educational things that we offer, you get the same people in these conferences, and 95% of the members don't participate because I don't think they even know what's going on. So I think that some kind of survey of the membership from the district level, what can we do for what do you need from the district, and that type of thing might be helpful.
Okay, I think we have heard previous requests and actually one from the past governors that a membership survey might be very helpful, and I know that we will be discussing that at our next board meeting. But and I'll just get to you in a second there, Barry, but one of the things that I'm thinking, and I know this session is about listening, but you sounds like we're wanting to make make these video clips, because there's really little bits of gold in some of these sessions, and how do we use them? And a thought that I had, and I'll talk this over with Mario, we'll maybe test something out in our home club, is I don't know how successful it would be. Sometimes, you do kill time in a meeting when you show a video segment. Well, we've had trouble getting people out to sessions, but I'm wondering if self-scheduling and saying, hey, we're going to be talking about McKenna's session on younger members. Here's the link. We're gonna deal with this. Watch this before the meeting. That might be another way to drive people. I mean, there are some people that we're never going to get them to watch this, no matter how it's packaged, no matter how it's presented. But that might be something different to try. And sorry, now over to you, Barry.
Well, with all due respect, Roland, I think that we've got to package it under the concept, what we're doing ain't working. We got to find some new ways to approach it. And, it's all well and good to say, yeah, when you have a spare moment. But you know what? Most of our club members seem to be really busy regardless, whether it's having coffee or they've left retirement or they've gotten back into whatever they're doing, or they've got busy days. What we're doing is not working. Therefore, we have to try some different things, and we have to be really open to saying, okay, maybe we have to cater to our members to get them to think. It's like leading the horse to water. If you stand there and just tell the horse the water's over there, it's not going to drink. And I think that we need to find some new ways. I think Ron's doing a great job, in some of his programs and such, but it's still not reaching the general membership, who are the ones who really need to be out there, flogging the bulrushes, and I don't know, is that a proper term?
Sure.
But going after them and getting new members in. It's just not happening. Our numbers are just showing it.
Okay. Over to you, Rod.
Yeah, so I think I did a lot of reflection about basically what has happened with the various Thursday night session and the low participation, whatever kind of thing. And I think that there is something in terms of what's being said about the length of it or whatever. And maybe what we need to do is we need to consider what I would call a cafeteria style for those sessions, okay? Which is basically saying the sessions are available in its entirety, or it is divided into two or three segments, and all of this is basically made available to the various club and the members and whatever kind of thing. That might be the I don't say the solution, but it may be something that might be attractive to fit whatever turns the crank of a club or a member kind of thing.
Cafeteria style, Ron, what? Just trying to wrap my head around. Sounds interesting.
Basically, what it means is that you look at it, for instance, you look at a topic like McKenna. She's got three distinct pieces in terms of her presentation. So you basically can make it available in its entirety if that's what a person a desire, or in our site where we've got all of these recordings. You take that whole thing and you divide it into two or three pieces with a title, so that and then you basically make it available to people so that they can look at whatever it is fits their timeline, their agenda, etc., etc.
So
again, it's a question of editing, and I know we're pushing Roland here because he's our expert on this kind of stuff. But that might be the way to basically just make it available in the way in which the members want it.
Yeah, just for the purpose of that's that sounds interesting, Ron, but I'm going to throw something else out just because I'm interested in how people might respond to this. The district did organize a number of club coach sessions. We're asking, I guess, as a Western Canada district and district member chair, we need to recruit a leadership chair. But if we're looking at doing things like creating a network of club coaches, is that something districts find supportive? I know that last year I was talking to a club, and to my mind, it was a scenario that lended itself totally to using a club coach. I could not sell that coach as a support for Love Nor Money. Is there any take or thinking around why clubs might be reluctant to use coaches? Is that something that clubs would like us to spend more or less energy on? Just some feedback on that would be interesting.
Ken,
Yeah.
I know about the coaches, but I don't think a lot of people know what a coach does. And I think nobody's going to come into my club and tell me what to do, kind of scenario, right? And so I think if more people understood what a coach does, that it might open some more doors, maybe.
Yeah, so just as Sue, the coaches are not there to tell you what to do. The coach is there to help you achieve
I know
the
that,
objective
Ron.
that you want.
Yeah, no, I know that. I'm just saying the general thinking
The
out
general
there
feeling
is
of
that,
it,
yeah,
yeah.
I know what a coach does. Absolutely.
Yeah, and people feel like it's somehow it's perceived as a top-down. Someone's going to come in and tell you what to do. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess maybe the message is try harder to explain or make it clear what the role of a coach is to district clubs.
By a show of hands here, who would think that it would be a good idea to use one of the next Thursday night session to talk about the role of a coach and how a coach could support your club? You guys interested in that?
I think it's a good idea, Rod, but unfortunately what we saw, I guess we end up doing is preaching to the choir. The people that are attending are probably the people.
That's what I was going to say, because with the same people coming all the time, it doesn't really matter what if you're preaching to the choir. How do we get that to the club level is what we need to worry about.
Go ahead, Mario.
I think if most of you might remember the formula way back in, I think, 2015-16, there was a lot of emphasis placed on club coaching. Some clubs adopted it, others didn't. It somewhere along the line it died out because that was presented to during the formula. Through Bob Morrison, myself, Richard Lesueur, we were all involved in the formula, and that was one of the big things is to have club coaching to get the clubs motivated, so to speak.
Go ahead, Richard. Oh, can't hear you.
Had to be on the right screen. One of the things, and Sue, you hit the head right on the nail, and I did that deliberately. As Mario mentioned, we were involved in the formula. Having been to a number of conventions and both for district and international. Matter of fact, I was reflecting on my first international convention back in 2004. Where I met Steve Siemens. So for the first time, and that's when he was elected. But anyway, people have a tendency when you talk about coaches, you you think of the hockey coach behind the bench and he's yelling and screaming and pointing this and do this and do that. And really and truly, we have to get the idea across to people that the proper coach is somebody who comes up and says, what can I do to help you do better? What can I what can I do? Not what can I tell you? What can I show you? How can I help you? Because that's exactly what coaches really do. And when we did our training for the formula back in the day, that's the type of thing that we looked at is what can we do to help you? And when you say coach to somebody, or that coach comes into a club, to immediately a number of people get the consideration that, oh, okay, they're going to tell us what to do. No, because exactly like Sue, my attitude is the same as Sue's. You ain't going to come into my house and tell me what I have to do. I'm sorry, I don't go for that. You know, but if you come into my house and you say, how can I help you do what you'd like to achieve? That would be better.
Barry?
I appreciate, Richard, your comments, because, you know, those of us with long beards, you know, and yours is certainly much longer, often come in and we do the wrong thing. You know, we simply sit there and we do things as experts, and we all know what an expert is, and I won't go into that definition. But a good example of using that strategy that you just outlined was we were having trouble with a couple of the CKI clubs. They were hitting blockheads or blockages. You know, they couldn't get things done. So because I knew how to sort out things with KI, I went through, got things sorted out, outlined to them what I had done, and then said, and took care of getting them registered again. And they're back on track, or one's back on track. One, we're just waiting for somebody to return from Southeast Asia. But the fact is, that's one of the strategies. Sometimes, you know, as a coach, you need to get in there and you need to help pave the way, and then make sure that they're very clear and they understand how they need to do it the next time, or the next steps are. And sometimes it takes the individual who is coaching to do that, to help do that work, not to do it all the time, but just to show them the way and make them feel confident that they can take on that role. So I think you're on the right track.
Okay, thanks, Barry. I talked about ways that the district works to try and help clubs. As another area I mentioned was recognition. Is there anything that you would like to see us do differently as far as recognition goes? Maybe we would formally recognize club excellence at DCON. There might be other opportunities throughout the year recognizing members, but you know, thinking about our normal cycle of recognizing and supporting Kiwanis clubs. Is there anything that we should shake up or change or refresh?
So Ken, one of the pet peeves of mine is that sometimes you've got to basically put things in perspective. So for instance, recognizing, you know, distinguished club, or, you know, things like that. It's not just about the numbers, but it may also be about the percentage. So for instance, in growth of member, you got a club that has say 15 members that recruit an additional 4 to 3 members, kind of thing, versus a club that has 50 members that recruit 5 members. Who's the most? Who is deserving the most about the the award? And I know that so far the awards have always been about just numbers, not percentage. So it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine.
Okay, I see Richard's hands up, and I know that Alvin, you've raised that as an issue too, but go ahead. You were first, Richard.
Okay, thank you. Well, Steve Siemens hit one of the nails right on the head, and that was recognition from the podium. All right. When you recognize a club, but even more important, when you recognize an individual, you should be doing it in front of everybody else so that they can really feel good about being recognized, and everybody can know that this person or this club did something that would be appreciated by any person or club. The other thing is that sometimes we lose sight of things when we recognize for big things. And I know as a club secretary, our club got recognized a number of times for website and newsletter and all these other different things. But I think that sometimes we need to take more of the trend of terrific kids, where we go into the schools and we recognize kids not for their scholastic abilities, not for something like that, but for they have a routine of opening doors for people, or they had a routine of helping other students. So that makes them a terrific kid. And what makes us terrific often is the little things that we do that people in a club or a club tends to do, that is kind of said, well, that's what a Kiwanis club does. That's what a Kiwanian does. And we need to recognize that a little more. I don't know if any of you remember, but I used to have an online broadcast, a regular online broadcast, where I would talk to people and I would recognize them for different things they do. And I believe that it's still available somewhere on YouTube. I can make it available on my YouTube channel if you want, and I probably will. But the public recognition of different things is something that's really worthwhile.
Okay, no, thanks for that, Richard. That's those are good points. Alvin, you wanted to add to that?
No, well, no, it's all been said. It's like Ron said, I think I brought this up quite a while ago, that we've always recognized on numbers and not percentage. And I just look even in our own division, in our own town here, we've got one club that in the last 2 years has doubled in size, but hasn't been recognized. They were at the point of talking about closure, and now they've got 27 members. So, but yeah, it's so they weren't recognized for their percentage of growth, and they were maybe one person less than one of the other clubs that got recognized as the greatest growth. But it was a large club that added maybe 10 members. Anyway. But not only, well, I see Golden K there being acclimated, but that's not the club I was even thinking of. But yes, our club has done well too. But but there's another club, as well, that has grown quite significantly in the last few years. Anyway, it's something that we need to do, is recognize percentage as well as numbers, because
It sounds like grit and persistence for the things that, the essence of being a Kiwanian. If as we explore the possibility of having a survey, if you just ask this group here, if you were designing a survey, what questions would you ask the broader membership? We have a sense of what the past governors would like to find out, but what would this group suggest? Sue?
Thanks, Ken. Actually, our Chinook Club has just, Northmount Club did a survey last year with Suzanne, and we have taken that survey and adapted it to to work for our specific club. And so we will be interviewing our club members. There's 3 of us that have broken it down into manageable chunks. And so by our next meeting, we'll hope to have some answers to what people are looking for and kind of refreshing our stance, I think. So yeah, I think a survey is a great idea.
Yeah, that's a very intense process that I know you're talking about. Sounds like an interview with each club member, right?
Yes, that's right. But it's manageable because we don't have that many club members and 3 of us are doing it. So, or 4 of us are doing it, I should say. So it's yeah, I think it's going to be great to see, and maybe surprising to some people to see what the results will be.
Okay.
Ken, I would highly suggest that to use probably that North Mount survey as a kind of a base to work something out for the district kind of thing. We may have to tweak it a little bit here and there, but it's a very well done piece of work.
Okay, thanks. Mario, were you going to say something? Or just moving your head? The last area that I wondered about, things that the district thinks that is doing is networking opportunities. I know that we get a sort of a core group of people that are interested on the Thursday night sessions. We get people showing up to these events. We get probably a slightly different constituency when we have our district convention. Are there other things that we should be doing to promote networking as a district? And would that look like, I know in Division 1 we've gotten away from the practice of 15, 20 years ago, doing a lot of things within the division. I know Division 7 is more active, but thoughts and suggestions about things that we could do as a district to support networking in the broader community. Barry?
I do have a question. I know Ron is doing some great stuff, and I realize that he's got some good programs going, but like many, I don't get a chance to get away on Thursday because I work Thursday night. But I'm just wondering, do we have any tally, and maybe at the next board meeting, we should be talking about who's coming out to these sessions. And when we go over I look at all the clubs every month. I go over the listing, and I'll tell you, there are many clubs that are not overly active, and we should be targeting a broader range of clubs. If we're getting the same 5 people from the same 5 of our 30 odd clubs out every time, then I don't think that we're hitting the mark. Even though Ron's doing a great job with those people, we're still not hitting the mark. I noticed that even though I've been after my own club to be online for this session, I don't see anybody else here. I've told them every single meeting. I've given them a pep talk, and don't forget to be out for this and such. And where are they? Not one of them is here. And only Alvin and I are here from our entire district. So I'm concerned about this. We don't seem to, and it's not that the job is not being done well, Ron. That's not the issue. It's that we're still not appealing to the right people. They don't seem to be reacting. And whether we like it or not, this is parenting. We can't simply sit back and say, well, if the clubs don't want to take part in these, then they're not going to. You know what? We're at the point where we need to start rebuilding our clubs. And if we don't get out there and actively make it happen, and that means work, then we might as well just fold into, Eastern Canada and go to a decon in the Caribbean.
Well, that sounds like fun.
I was doing that with tongue in cheek.
I got that. Can I just say something? I'll lower my hand.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Thanks, Ken. Sorry. So this had more, I was thinking about this back when we were talking about coaching and whatnot. A couple of things. maybe instead of using the word coach, we could use the word mentor, which is a slightly different take on it. And the other thing I'm thinking about is we're all, if you look around this room, and I'm going to call it a room, how many different kinds of cultures do we have here besides old white guys with beards? Well, we have Joanne and I and a couple of the other ladies, but so, and my point is, why don't we think about bringing somebody who's not a Kiwanian, but has the mentality of service club and understanding of that in to do some training with us, not training, but so I'll tell you my context here. I'm also a social worker and I have a professional coach who does training and all kinds of stuff like that. And she's doing an online 5-week course around reigniting your enthusiasm for what you're doing. And it sounds to me like that might be something that we might want to do as a district, is because we're all tired. I mean, we've been through the pandemic, we're all tired, we're all busy, and some of us have lost our pep, some of us have more pep than others. So it just might be something to think about. And she is also, she has her own business, but she's also, what's the talking group? You know, the people who,
Toastmasters?
yeah, Toastmasters. Thanks, Joanne. Yeah, she's a part of the Toastmasters and she lives in a small town. So she understands about service clubs and all that kind of stuff. So might be something to think about in terms of getting people's mojo back.
Okay, good point. Is there anything further that people would want to tell us at the end of the session? If not, I don't know, Roland and Joanne as hosts, but I'd like to end my part by saying again, thank you for everybody that worked on this event. Thank you, George. I'm hoping, that we can get some bounce across the Kiwanis district for the program. Racism is an issue that is pervasive, and it sounds like that the program that you've been associated with is probably needed everywhere. Thank you, Joanne, for your work and pulling this together. And of course, where's Roland's invisible, but thank you somewhere in there, Roland, for all of your work on this event as well. These sessions don't just happen. Lots of pre-work, and that the fact that we could do this is something to celebrate. I'm glad that we did record this session, because we probably do need to rethink the notes, or maybe I'll compare notes with Joanne with the feedback that you've given us. And thank you, everyone. We do have a board meeting coming up shortly. I think we have been putting out a call for governor-elect. I think at the board meeting, we will be announcing the people that have expressed interest. We're wanting to have a good continuity as this year's team transitions into the executive under Governor George. I like the sound of that, Governor George. So please, if there's anybody that is interested in a Kiwanis position, either LG, a lead on one of our committees like club leadership and education, please consider participating at the district level. But thanks again, everybody, for a great morning, afternoon, depending on wherever you are. And I'll maybe turn it back to Joanne and Roland. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Something else I'll put a bug in people's ear about too. Thinking ahead to 2024, August of 2024, when we will be hosting DCON in Western Canada alone. And so we'll be asking for expressions of interest. And so in your club, in your city, in your district or your division, is there interest in being the hosts for the Western Canada District Convention in August of 2024? We do have a joint convention this year with Montana. And so I'm going to mention that is the dates. We're still working on a lot of the details. We have a meeting at the end of this month and finalize some last things and then start sending out information. But it's in Helena, Montana, and it is from the convention itself runs from the 11th, the 12th, and the morning of the 13th, as in traditional kind of fashion. And I think it'll be a really good convention. And I think the other thing that I was going to do was I hope people are perhaps considering going to the international convention. And if you haven't had a look, I was just going to share the screen and show a short video, if that was all right. Their theme is Nurture the Future. And when I look at the program, there are so many looks like very worthwhile sessions to me on empower, because I work with our Key Club, and empowering teens and on positive youth development. And so I think there's a lot of really powerful takeaways there for individuals and members within clubs to bring back to their clubs, not just club leadership. So I'm going to just share this little video, maybe. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Oops.
Catchy.
You didn't want to catch that music again, right?
Yeah,
And
it
of
is
course,
so catchy. There is for those of you that aren't able to travel, or Minneapolis isn't your favorite city towards the end of June, there is a virtual option that will be offered. Again, 20th to 24th. The virtual covers all of the educational sessions. So obviously you can't vote at the annual general meeting. There are social things that you will just miss, but the core educational content you will be able to take in. And typically it's very, very attractive price-wise. So consider that also as an option if travel to Minneapolis isn't in your plans or club budget.
mhm. And Roland, those sessions are recorded as well. So, because sometimes the live things, I know from my experience last year, I had conflicts, but then I could watch them later. And you had a certain window in which to be able to watch them before they were not available any longer. So
just to close out, thank you so much for taking the time out of your morning and or afternoon, whichever time zone you might be in. I think as we connect, as we share ideas, as we re-energize, and I heard a lot of words about losing our mojo, and particularly this last session about what can the district do to help. that I think we all get a little stronger. So for all of you, thank you for your passion, your time, and your energy. That for that, I will give a little plug for Ron's session every third Thursday. There is a educational topic. So with the time zone, I can't remember whether it's 6:30, 7:30 Mountain or Standard, but anyways, there will be a communication that goes out, because those typically, again, there are another opportunity for a specific topic that you might be interested. So for all of you, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do for kids and youth in the communities. And that, Ken, is all I have to say.